Hey YouTube, it's SoulPrime13 here with another Transformers video review, and this is one that people have been looking forward to for a while, so I'm trying to get to it as soon as I can. So here we have the Generation 1 Transformers the Movie Studio Series Megatron, and there has been quite a bit of clamor around this figure for many reasons, but overall, he is definitely an interesting piece. He definitely took a lot of people by surprise. So let's go ahead and get into it. We'll first take a look here at the box. And here we have some artwork of Megatron being all intimidating. And there we have some, it feels more like a concept art of his tank mode there. But then we got the labels, Transformers the Movie, Megatron, got more of that artwork there. On the top we just got labels and stuff. More of that art there, wrapped around. Yeah, look, because it's got his big old fist. Yeah, Autobot symbol, because Megatron is an Autobot, definitely. We got our legal jargon, and then we have our product shots. We got our little screen cap up here of Megatron about to fire his fusion cannon. We got our one-line bio, and then we have, the usual product shots. But that's about it for the packaging. And he does come with a lovely instruction booklet, a very substantial one at that. So there's quite a lot here. But there is that. And let's take a quick close-up of the figure himself. Of course, we got that nice Decepticon symbol there on his chest. He does have those painted red eyes, and he does have that little bit of the black eyebrow there. Does have the little buttons and whatnot on his torso. Little dabs of red. You got here some here on the fusion cannon. Does have his red elbow joints, and his sides are red. Fortunately, no red on the inner leg, but yeah, it is what it is. And the paint they use for the legs does look a lot better in person. A lot of people have been saying that they look better in person, and it's true. There is that hint of blue, but it's not nearly as bad as it looked in the photos. It's a lot more bearable in person. Dude got his gray diaper of evil. And pretty much here is like all you really see of the tank is these tread bits here and on his heels, which is honestly very impressive. He does have the barrel on his back. It is, as many people already know, just an attachment. There will be parts forming, oh no. But yeah, there is that. Now, as for articulation, his head is on a pretty solid ball joint. Not the best, but definitely not the worst. Do get a fair bit of motion. I would have liked a little bit more side to side, but overall it's still pretty good. His arms can come all the way out. Can do a full 360. Do get bicep swivel. We do get over 90 degrees at the elbow. We do get a wrist swivel. Due to the way his forearms are constructed, he can sort of, like, his hand is on a ball joint, but you really don't get much out of that ball joint because it's kind of locked in place, which I think is a bummer. I do think they should have given it more room to move. But you do get articulated fingers. You do get the index finger and three finger, the three finger trigger finger split or whatever. And they do have 2 hinges each, so you do get some movement there. As far as, oh wait, almost forgot, we do get a butterfly joint, so there's that. Hooray! As I sort of accidentally pull it out of its socket, and then there we go. It is a little finicky with how it pops out in and out. You do get movement at these skirts up and down. You can bring them back and down if you want them out of the way. for a bit of a cleaner look, but that is technically just for transformation. These are supposed to be at the sides. As far as legs, he can kick very high. So get that out of the way. And he can kick all the way back. Does get just a tiny smidge over 90 at the knee. Do get our thigh swivel. So did I mention 360 waist? I don't think I did. What else? Oh yeah, we do get out to the side all the way. We do get ankle movement, and we do also kind of get some up and down at the toe due to this transformation joint. And you can kind of flip his toe down if you want. And there's one of the big problems with him is these shins, as you can see, do not want to close all the way. So when you move his foot, they have a tendency to just pop undone. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I will say that he's a very good figure, but he definitely does still have some flaws and some things that I'm not entirely a fan of. But I won't deny that there's a lot of cool tricks and engineering this guy does. And I just don't think he's quite as good as a lot of people are making him out to be. By no means do I think he's a bad figure. Don't take that out of context. Don't get me wrong. He's a very good figure. I just think that he may have been a bit overhyped. But I can understand why. People have been waiting for a new Megatron mold for a long time. Even I, like, who just started recollecting like a little over a year ago, was very tired of that Siege mold. So I understand why everybody was so excited for this guy. But let's go ahead and do a couple comparisons. We gotta start with his arch enemy, the Studio Series Optimus Prime. And as you can see, he is like a hair taller. He's just a tiny bit taller, which for the most part does seem to be accurate, and I do think that fits. It definitely helps with his intimidation factor. I gotta pull this camera back a little bit more. But yeah, I do feel like his proportions are a little chunky. I mean, I kind of feel that way about the Optimus too. But they at least sort of have a matching aesthetic when you put them side by side. They do look very good together. So there's that. And let's see, who else can we bring in? Who else? As I accidentally pop somebody's legs out of place. Hold on. We're experiencing technical difficulties. Here he is next to New Age Romulus, which is their take on a Chug G1 Megatron. So you can see he's definitely a good bit bigger. Definitely a lot bulkier. So, well, that's how they look together. And of course we got to bring in some form of it. So here is the Minor Megatron from the Fractured Friendship 2-pack, just so you have an idea how that mold stacks up. And for one more, well actually, two more. Here he is next to the somewhat recent G1 Flame Toys model kit. Give you an idea how he looks next to a non-transforming figure. Okay, now for our last one, we'll put him next to our other crown jewel leader class of the year, Megatronus. And yeah, they both have very intimidating presence. They both got big cannons. They both turn into tanks. Both have been very impressive figures. If I'm being honest, I still like Megatronus a little bit bigger as far as the leader classes have gone this year. But again, I do not think this Megatron is bad by any stretch of the mind. I just do have a few minor issues. But now with comparisons out of the way, we can talk about his little accessories. He does come with the lightsaber that he used to stab Optimus with. and you can just put that into his hand. Yeah, see, this is what I mean when I say the hands should have more movement, because they pop off the ball joint when you try and move them sometimes, which is a bummer. And that was just me trying to open his fingers to put this sword in, so. But you just open his hand, and the handle will just clip right in. And you do want to keep in mind how the sword fits against his sort of forearm, because it does kind of have to sit above it. But there's that. And mine does have a huge glob of paint right here. I don't know how well that... Yeah, just a huge glob of the paint from the blade just dripped onto that, I guess. So I'm pretty sure that's just my copy though, so I don't think you should have to worry about that. I haven't heard anybody else having that. That is very much a someone just used too much paint and it dripped. So, but the other accessory he gets is he does get his own little gun mode of himself. Obviously it's not completely accurate, but I think it is really cool that they threw this in. You know, it does have the little scope, it does have a little clip up here, and then obviously the handle is where the most inaccuracy is, but you know, it's cool that they put this in. I think, you know, for a lot of people this was something that that a lot of people couldn't accept. He's not a gun, he's a tank, and then they saw this and it's like, okay, I can at least, you know, accept that as like a sort of consolation prize. I think this little accessory really did win a lot of people over, and I think it was a very smart move by Hasbro. But you can put it in his hand. We'll put it in his fusion cannon hand this time. And again, you just sort of open up his fist, and you can just pop that into his hand. So now he is holding himself. And if you want to store it on the back, the little clip on the top right here just goes into this little slot right here, like so. And the lightsaber also can store on his back. Just get that out of his hand again, which he has a very tight grip on, honestly. And we just take this post and plug it in here, which is pretty much just a mirrored one from his gun barrel. Personally, I like to kind of give him the TF1 Megatron treatment and plug this into his arm so that he can, you know, do the double shooty pose that TF1 Megatron did. I think it's cool. That's just me. Or if you really want, you can create various scenes from the original cartoon and give his gun mode to other people, like Optimus or Starscream. It'll just plug right in there, and now you have whichever scene from the OG cartoon you want. So yeah, some nice options there. But we'll go ahead and de-accessorize him. And is there anything else I wanted to mention while we're in robot mode? I don't really think so. I think I mentioned all my major nitpicks, which is pretty much you know, the paint thing, the legs not tabbing in, and the hands popping off is a bit of a issue. Fortunately, the hand thing isn't too frequent, but it is a thing. I do want to talk about the fusion cannon a little bit. So a lot of people have mentioned how they don't like the size of the fusion cannon, thinking that, you know, it should compact more or extend more. I've heard a few different things. For me, I don't really like this weird divot on the top, because like this rounded part is usually what I see as the top. So, and like honestly, I feel like it should, you know, sit like that, like just kind of cupped over his wrist or whatever. But that's not how this is designed. Honestly, I'm pretty sure at this point there's going to be a third-party pack that's going to give him a more accurate fusion cannon or something. So I'm not too worried about it. So there is that. Oh, there is something I should have mentioned. We do need to talk about blast effects. Let's get a purple one. Let's get a purple one for Decepticon, for bad guys. Come here. So we can stick them into, maybe not that one, into his fusion cannon. And I'm pretty sure they work with like all the various, ports on his body, because he does have a few. He's got a couple on the back. He's got like one on each arm. I don't think he has any on his legs. Yeah, I don't see any on his legs. This one, can he do a? You can do a energon fart. There's that. So yeah, and then you can also do it with his blaster. Oh, that's why this isn't working. This is not one of the Hasbro blast effects. I think that's the one from what was it, Toy World? Let's try that. There. So yeah, you get some blast effects there. So that's pretty neat. Okay, is that everything for robot mode? I'm pretty sure it is. I think we can move on now. So, trying to find another purple effect. Well, whatever. Okay, so now we can move on to transformation. So, first we are going to just completely de-accessorize him. We're going to take off that cannon. You want to straighten this out and just unplug that. And now, first things first, we want to work on his arms. We are going to open these up like I have many times before. Just completely open that up. Make sure his fists are closed up as much as possible. Get those fingers tucked behind the thumb. Then you're just going to flip that inside. And then you are going to take this. It kind of helps if you rotate the arm to the side. But you want to rotate this 180. And then you're going to close it up again. And then you're going to do the same with the other side. Open up the arm. You can close those fingers in. Flip in that fist. Rotate this 180. Close that back up. Now you want to unhook his butterfly joints in his arms. And I find the best way to do this is actually by trying to use them as intended and bringing them forward. And you can just kind of slide them out. It is a little harder to get them in than it is to get them out, unfortunately. So there is that. And then we want to come here to the chest and just unhook it. There we go. And then this piece you're going to fold in. Actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure we fold that in. We'll just leave that for now. And you do want to flip his head in. Not yet. Not yet. Do want to open up his back. There we go, like that. And then we flip his head in. And there are some little tabs to sort of hook it into place. When you close this back up again, and you can flip his chest up, and then flip this piece out, like so. And then this whole assembly is going to come up, and I'm just going to sort of bring these arms up like so, just for right now. And then we are going to move to his legs. So, the legs are honestly one of the most fun things about this guy. He has a really cool transformation for his legs. But you are going to unhook this heel piece, like this. It does just tab in right here, covering up these little wheels. Then you're going to bring this whole thing forward. And then you're going to bring this whole thing out. Extend it, bring it out. Then you're going to open up this. And you're going to flip this little piece out, and that's going to bring out the tip of the tread. Close that back up. Then you're going to fold this whole assembly around. It's sort of on a double hinge. Bring that up, and that'll form the entire side of the tank. And we're just going to sort of bring that up to the side. Then we're going to rinse and repeat on the other side. Just unhook that. Take the heel. And we're going to unfold this whole thing. You do want to make sure to move this out of the way because it can get like stuck and like things will bend in ways they really shouldn't, and hit each other. Just a thing to be aware of is where this is sitting. So there is that. Then we do want to come to these skirt pieces, and we are going to fold them back here like so. Alright. Now, we do want to bring the tank treads. Actually, I do believe we rotate the waist 180. Bring the tank treads up, and this big tab right here is going to go into his thigh, like so. Do that on both sides. Then we can, want to bring this down, and am I getting this mixed up? I think I'm getting this mixed up as I bump into you guys. What part am I getting mixed up though? Am I getting this? I'm so lost right now. Because I know this wheel needs to go on the ground, and now I'm all backwards. Oh, now I remember. You want to bring these straight up, and you're going to fold them up because this tab on his leg is going to go into the skirt. So, like that. Just completely brain went blank. Now we can bring these tabs in for the legs, like so. And we also want to hook in this part. There's another tab right here that's going to go into this slot right here where the gray meets the red, like so. And then didn't actually go in all the way, did it? Nope. There we go. And then there's a little gray tab right there that's going to hook into that piece of the chest we folded out earlier. See if I can maybe get a good view of it up here. But, hook it in like that so it's all flush. Gonna do the other side. Plug that in. Plug it in there, and then plug it in up here. And then for the legs on the back, no, that is not how that's supposed to work. What the heck? Well, it's supposed to hide away somehow, and no, I didn't miss another step because that's his waist. There it goes. Yeah, you gotta swoop it up into place. And then this, do sort of wanna, so we're gonna move it forward on this double hinge, like so. Try not to accidentally smash my finger. Like that. And then we bring the foot down, and you're gonna bring this toe piece down. And you're going to flip this around, and this little tab is going to go into, this little tab right here is going to go into his heel, like so. And you're going to bring this whole thing down like so. So that his toes are on the bottom covering his knee joint. So again, you're going to push this double hinge forward, then you're going to come here and flip the toe down. Rotate this all the way around, then bring it under and in like so. I don't think this actually tabs in anywhere. I mean, the joints are pretty stiff, so they don't like flop around, but yeah, I don't think that part, this doesn't actually tab in, I don't think. Oh no, there is a tiny little tab right here. It's really small and doesn't hold super well, but there is a tab there. But anyway, like I said, it's stiff enough that it doesn't flop around either way. So, and now for the last part, we do want to make sure that these little tabs here go in and tab into his shins. So probably actually should have done that first, but yeah. Just like that. Make sure that these are resecured. And then I know there are like a couple different ways that these orient, but I do believe the instruction says you just bring these in, and these, you can see there's like 3 joint pieces, 1, 2, 3, and this middle one is supposed to go into this little groove right here. So I'm going to bring that down like so, and then this third upper one, I think you want to move out to the side like so. Bring that middle joint in, come on, so, then believe, no, hold on, yeah, I definitely think I mixed something up here. Good. I know that's supposed to go there because that's why the groove is there. I think I'm mixing up the other parts. Oh, I know I'm getting all mixed up. You do want these 2 tabs here in the middle. They are going to come together and tab together. Come on. Get in there. And now legs are coming untabbed. And get this all tabbed back in. I definitely am missing something because those are definitely supposed to go together. Let's try rotating these arms out, I guess. What the heck? I've done this a dozen times and I have not ever forgotten how to do this. It's because the camera's on. But I feel like I only ever forget things when the camera's on. Most of the time. It's the only time it really matters. Oh, what the heck? That might explain it. Helps if you have the arms facing the right way. See, like I said, I only forget things when it's important. Okay, so there, now we have this all tabbed together. As you can see, they do form a nice little L shape. And we do have this little gap here. And now, we take the fusion cannon, we come here to this back piece. Let me just open this up. And it's on a double hinge, and we bring it down and forward like so, and then we can bring this sort of hook piece over those arm joints, and it'll sort of click on, and then these little tabs in the arm are going to tab into the sides of his cannon like so. And sorry about that. That so fun 29-minute limit when I really need more time than that to talk about this guy in depth. Anyway, you want to take this hook part here and you put it over those joints in the arms, and then these little tabs right here you're going to plug into the sides of the fusion cannon like so. And then you want to, I forgot to take this back off, you want to take the gun barrel and stick it in the end there. And there you have Megatron in his tank mode. Woo! And it's decent. You know, it's definitely not perfect, but you know, it's pretty solid. The turret is still, you know, very much just his arms holding the cannon in between them. That has been a thing for a while now, it seems. But the treads do look very nice. I think the way that the legs compact and like the shins sort of form the back of the tank, I think that's kind of neat. I've definitely heard some people complain about this part, but I don't mind it. The fusion cannon, again, like, it's fine in this mode. It does bug me a little bit in the robot mode, but I do like how it attaches. It is definitely a lot more secure than the Megatronus way, the Megatronus leader class that we got. Though it does come at a little bit of a price, it doesn't really get as much up, as you can see. It's really not going up at all. It's the hinges moving. So, but you do get 360 rotation, and it's a very smooth one at that. So there is some pluses there, and yeah, it's much more secure than Megatronus's cannon was. Speaking of which, let's do a size comparison with him. So here we have their two tank modes side by side, and as you can see, Megatron definitely compacts a lot more, but he also doesn't have nearly as much space. I mentioned in my Megatronus review that he does have a lot of open space here. But, you know, they are going for two very different aesthetics, and there are some similarities, mainly in how the turret transforms. But I do think that they have overall improved on that whole turret transformation. But yeah, still both very cool figures. And we definitely gotta compare him to the Siege. So there he is next to Siege Megatron, and again, he does compact really well, all things considered. So should have switched over my Optimus while I was dealing with that whole gap in the footage, but just for a similar vehicle, here is next to Siege Ultra Magnus, so you at least get a truck comparison. So yeah, so pretty cool if you ask me. But yeah, overall, I do think that the tank mode works pretty well. And again, the only real issue I would say I have with the tank mode is that this doesn't really move up anymore, because of how it locks all the joints in place. But you do get plenty of side to side and all that, so it's not terrible. And he does actually have rolling wheels. We do get rolling wheels. It's been a while since we've had that on a tank, or anything with treads really. And we do get that blast compatibility still, so you can have him shooting his tank cannon if you so choose. And we can store the accessories. You can store them here on these ports on the side that were hidden by his legs. You can store them up here on the ports that were on his arms. So you do have weapon storage. Hooray! So yeah. Let's see, is there anything else to mention? I think that's about it as far as the vehicle mode goes. But yeah, like I said, I do think this is a good figure all in all. He does have some little issues. It's a lot of really minor things for the most part. Again, like the sword paint splotch, that's probably just my copy. I'm not going to count that against him. That's definitely like a quality control worker at the factory kind of thing. The legs not pegging in, like the shins not pegging in robot mode, I have heard that other people have that problem. Fortunately, the stiff joints prevent it from, you know, just flopping around, but it doesn't completely peg in, so that is an issue. Again, I do have some issues with the way the fusion cannon is molded. I feel like it looks upside down to me, honestly. I'm used to having the rounded part on top. But, you know, that's not a huge deal. Again, I do like the transformation. I do think the tank mode is very solid. I do think the robot mode has a very impressive design. The transformation is really cool. So overall, I do think that this guy, I think he deserves a 9 out of 10. I do think he, gets a high score. They definitely put a lot of effort into this. Everybody was excited about it for good reason, and I do think that for the most part he does earn that hype. It's just, I feel like there was a little bit like people were just so excited to get a new Megatron that they still managed to overhype him a little bit. But I do think he's worth picking up, absolutely. Again, I think putting the little mini Megatron gun in was a huge power play by Hasbro. That was a very smart thing to do. I think that really brought a lot of people over as far as like him not being a gun anymore. Still getting that little accessory really, I think, was just a genius thing to do. So credit to Hasbro for that one. But yeah, I think that's about all I have to say. Final verdict is, like 9 out of 10. I recommend him. So yeah, I think I'll go ahead and wrap up this review there. And this is Soul Prime 13 saying transform and soul out.